Sure to tip the Wookiee bartenders on the way in or on the way out when you go. And remember that this is the Scoundrels scheduler, your bar manager, and your Wookiee wrangler. And we've got stuff to talk about. So last night, late, I was already in bed. Kamran posted the news that Rob King, who was one of the big mentioners in one of the big producers at ESPN and the King of Woke, apparently, according to Bluebird, was fired for harassment. They basically said what he did wrong. Now, look, if they can say it, they're going to use anything else but the real reason why. The real reason why is because he was woke. He caused a lot of trouble. Hi, Baz. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, meet my video guru who puts all together all the great stuff. Hey, Cross. Baz Taylor puts all together like the little Star Wars Smuggler's Cantina vignettes. And if I need a video cropped, he does it for me. He's great. So everybody give him a bow. Anyway, hey, Cross. So ESPN fired the guy. Now, I don't know the whole story, okay? But here's, I think, one of the big things that he did. First, oh, that's great. First off, that's great, Baz. I love seeing them. They're awesome. And I'm finding a lot of use for Vader force choking people in this big time. Anyway, what's going on, or what it's coming out in the press is Rob King posted a lot of really bad shit on Twitter. All right, I didn't see it, I didn't care. And the Twitter was part of the harassment. I'm okay, fine. If that's the game we're playing, fine. But he was part of the Jamala Hill crap that was going on and caused a lot of trouble for ESPN. And ESPN lost viewers. Okay. Get woke, go broke. Okay. You've got to not put politics or racist bullshit into sports. Look, the NFL, I think, has paid a price, so you can't really tell, for the kneeling for the national anthem. And curtsying, because Roger Goodell is such a pussy. He probably wears women's panties. He's the NFL commissioner if you're from Britain. And he's a fucking douchebag, okay? He basically let a guy who'd been cut from his team, Colin Kaepernick, dictate to the NFL what they would do for the national anthem. And now we've got an anti-American black national anthem that plays before the other one, before ours. It's not inclusivity. No one says that having everyone united is a bad thing. It's the fact that their idea of inclusivity is not including white people, lying about our history with the 1619 Project, attacking white men, attacking men in general, white men in particular. Okay. That's the issue that I think people had. Look, as a former NFL fan who will never forgive them for kneeling down for the national anthem, my husband retired from the Marine Corps after 30 years. He's a Marine Corps colonel, okay? That was an insult. That was a fuck you to the flag. A flag that he served. A flag that as a wife, I served because I took care of him. Okay. Um, that pisses me off. Okay. And it pissed him off. And it made a lot of people mad. So I, I'm like, well, fuck you. We're not going to watch this anymore. And I was a diehard, lifelong Packer fan. And ever since what, 2018, 2017, I haven't watched a football game. I have not seen a football game since then. All right. And the Philadelphia Eagles, Rudy's former favorite team, have been in two Super Bowls and won one and should have won this last one. Hey, Jonathan. Yeah, look. I think I've talked about that. God, a long time ago. When Bob Iger says Kathy's doing a real good job, do you think he means it? Are you crazy? What kind of pot are you smoking? Okay, because he's just doing the professional thing. Well, I don't think Iger's ever really said anything about her, about Alonzo or Rob King. Remember that Iger put out the word to the division heads with which Feige is a division head and Pitaro at ESPN is a division head. He's also up to be one of the people that ends up being CEO of Disney. Basically said, start identifying people to lay off. And this is round 2 because there have already been layoffs in HR like a month ago. Okay. So, if you look in the past, I can't remember Iger saying anything. He mostly talks about Feige. And look, when I looked at this, hey, Feige this is all actually Feige's fault because he let it happen. Okay. And his reaction was to fire Alonzo. Well, first off, when you start finding out that she was running around like Nurse Ratchet, hi Kojak, that she was a tyrant, they're starting to put it out there that, she was a pain in the ass to work with. And I'm going to move my chair up a little bit. And she, that's not the reason to fire somebody, okay? Trust me, it's not. But they did. She was fired because of the woke shit. She was fired because Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania, lost money. That Marvel Phase 4 sucked. Okay. Oh, just some other guy. You are so close to the Brie Larson thing, you can't even believe it. I've never talked about it and I won't. Shh, don't say that. Shh. All right. All right. Obviously, Kevin Feige has a thing for nasty toes. Okay. Let's go further. So, Feige, she's woke. Alonzo, when Reimagine Tomorrow freaked out over the Florida Parental Rights and Education Act and started screaming, "It's not fake ABAL." She was one of the leads in that. She led the fight against Ron DeSantis and Bob Chapek. Yeah, and Bob Chapek is getting smeared now by the conservative press for being woke. And he wasn't woke. I'll get to that, Wade. Ron DeSantis, Bob Chapek, I have heard rumors that he was a Trump supporter. Okay, so that's not woke. He said, and I quote, "We are not getting involved in politics." That's not woke. Okay, and yet we've got Fox News saying he was. Hi, Kojak. Good boy. It's bullshit, frankly. Okay, it is bullshit. And Bob Iger was the one that allowed this woke shit to happen. Look, woke started in 2012, kind of. It started with Disney with The Force Awakens. The Han and Leia bullshit is woke. Okay, it is postmodern, non-romantic bullshit. Okay, and J.J. Abrams doesn't know how to write. I mean, if you look at the movie regarding Henry, Henry's relationship with his wife is not good. This is the world that J.J. Abrams grew up in. This is why he wrote the script like that. Okay, and they reconciled, but still, it is not the the World War II generation. They were married 70 years and died an hour apart, holding hands. Okay. And then the woke got worse with Ghostbusters 2016 with Paul Feig. So, and then they after, TLJ came out, which was Vice Admiral Gender Studies, Rose Tico's anti-American, anti-capitalist screed. And it just went on and on and on and on. Okay, so we've got to look at it that way. Victoria Alonso was with Disney or Marvel since 2006. And she was one of the producers of Iron Man. But she had to follow what Jon Favreau wanted. Okay, he was the boss. And he was the one that basically set up the MCU. Okay, so, and he's now trying to figure out how to save Star Wars, but I'll get into that, okay? And her role at Marvel was one that they made up specifically for her. She basically only answered to Feige. And to me, when I look at what's been going on with Phase 4 and now 5, Feige wasn't there. It wasn't there. Okay. So you're kind of going, well, it's not really. It's really not that, depending. Like if you get into the executive producer position, some of those people really are involved. All right. And some, like Kathleen Kennedy, are not. Okay. But if you're looking at produced by Steven Spielberg, or if it's an Indiana Jones movie from years ago, produced by George Lucas, he was on the set every fucking day. And if he wasn't, he was seeing the dailies and he was in constant contact. Okay. Like I'll give you a little bit of an example. During Temple of Doom's filming, Harrison Ford hurt his back really bad. And I think he hurt some discs. And the reason why is because when they were riding the elephants, they really fucked him up. It's not a comfortable thing to do. And they were filming a stunt where he picks up that guy and throws him over his head. And his back just went, okay, I'm out. And he was hurting. He screamed. And he couldn't, before that happened, he couldn't sit down. He'd have to lay down in bed or on something. He was in agony the whole time. And when he hurt himself, like literally, it was like, okay, now we're gonna have to quit filming right now. Lucas went out, from Los Angeles, assessed the damage, brought Ford back with him, got him help at one of the medical centers in Los Angeles. They did an experimental treatment, and he came back, and he was fine. Um, uh, and Lucas wasn't on the set, but he came to the set. But if you look at other video, he was there. If you look at pictures, he was on the set for Temple of Doom, and in places like when they went to Sri Lanka when they were filming that part of the movie. He was obviously in the desert in Jordan when they were filming The Last Crusade. So, they come and go. Kathleen Kennedy was on the set for Indy 5 for the first week. And then I don't think she was on the set ever again. Her husband was, but there aren't any pictures of her being on the set. Nor is she mentioned going to the wrap party. Think about it. So that's an interesting thing to think about. But Alonzo basically went forward with making the MCU diverse, which is anything but diverse. It's basically making a white man and Ant-Man into a cuck and a bad father. It's basically cucking Thor, basically making the white men either wussies, cowards, or the bad guy. Throwing in way too much homosexuality. Ugh. And guys, I never used to be this way, but it's rampant. I'm like, will you please shut your fucking mouths? Thank you. Okay. And that's just what she did, and the MCU suffered for it. Okay, bad writing. The CGI was not good. It didn't make any sense. So Feige just said, okay, she's fired. She's gone. Okay. And it was time for her to go too. All right, it really was. Rob King, we're out as welcome. And, it really is a woke purge. All right, it really is. And go look up Jamela Hill and him on Google, and you'll see it. You'll know that he was fired because he's a woke piece of shit. Okay. How does this affect Lucasfilm? Well, here's the deal. The division heads, we're told, start picking out people to fire. Start picking out woke people to fire. Now, Kamran has it on good information that there's a list that Disney HR has already of a vast majority of the story group that's going to go. Okay. There are only 3 people that are going to keep. All right, the rest are gone. That includes Carrie Beck, Pablo Hidalgo, Matt Martin, Jason Stein, some girl who's like dry humps the High Republic, and this piece of shit named Phil Sozak, who, he took over the writer spot for J.W. Rinsler, and Sostek is an asshole. He's a woke little pussy who has an HR problem. But those are just some of the names. But when this shit went down with Alonzo, it became perfectly clear that no one is safe. And that means Kennedy. Somebody brought up, well, what if they fire Dave Filoni? They're not going to fire Dave Filoni. They're not. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are the Golden Boys. Okay, they're they're the ones. Okay, and they're not going to. It's going to be maybe Lin-Wen Brennan, Carrie Beck, because she's really bad. I mean, really, in ways that I'm like, you did what? You did what? Let's put it this way. She trod in places she did not belong. And it would piss people off of her gender, okay? And she's a fat girl. Let's put it this way. She's a fat girl who thinks just because she's fat doesn't mean men shouldn't want to date her. Okay, all right. And she was looking for safe dick. All right. That's all I'm going to say. So we've got issues with her. And it's going to end up being the accountability train is going to end there. It's going to go there. And we're going to see a big name now. Is it going to be Kennedy before Star Wars Celebration? I don't know. I suspect Kennedy will not announce her retirement, or they won't announce that she retired or is retiring before Indy 5 drops this June. So she's got, all right, April, May, June. And then we've got July, August. So July, August is when I expect that little niblet to drop. Now, should the press get a hold of Iger telling her, I mean, look, do I believe he had a face-to-face meeting with her over the Acolyte? Yes. It's very interesting that Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant for 6 years, who's probably got Me Too issues of her own, I mean, like being called out for it, we've got YouTubers that think the Acolyte is real. They double down on this shit. Again, $5,000 they give to a well-known producer, and you're buying that it's real. And if they knew what I knew about what's really going on with that, because I found out something through our contact that is so hilarious, I can't, okay? And when it comes out, and it will, people are gonna look stupid, okay? And it's not gonna be me, all right? I mean, it could, but, if you're fully funded, all right, I wanna put it this way and ask these people this question. If the show is fully funded, why didn't they pay Karen McCarthy what she was owed for what the work she did and the money she lost, which is what she wanted for losing Sugar? All right. Why would they? I mean, and it was in the stories. I don't care what your janitor contact or whatever they are thinks. I don't care what Pablo says. He's a liar. All right. Why in the stories, when Karen McCarthy went to be paid, they acted like they'd never seen her before till she produced the paperwork? All right. Why? Because the show isn't real. All right. And the people she went to, probably accounting, didn't know what was going on. Okay? Now, Bob Iger, face-to-face meeting with Kennedy. Karen McCarthy was invited. Her lawyer told her to decline, and she did. Okay, so she wasn't there. What was he asking? And then you got to ask, why is Disney accounting auditing Lucasfilm? Why are we being told that sketchy shell companies are giving money to Headland? Do they honestly think they can actually produce a decent Star Wars movie without CGI? Because guess what, little everybody, or with practical effects, a decent Star Wars show, I should say, because when it goes into post production, it's going to have to go over to ILM to have all the effects put in, right? What would those guys think? I don't even know if those guys were aware of this show happening. That's the thing, and I think what makes me mad is Disney should have put the kibosh on this. They should have announced it right out. We are not doing the Acolyte. You know what, Peter? If the flying monkeys at Lucasfilm were taking money from Kenobi or Boba Fett and giving it to Headland for this bullshit, and all she's really doing is filming a sizzle reel. My friend Dan Watanabe, who is in Los Angeles, he was a former development person at a studio, and he knows a lot of people in the business, was like, it's a sizzle reel. That's all it is. This is not a real thing. He posted that to these people, and they don't know who he is. They don't know who's actually telling them what's real and what isn't. And it's like, I think it's the need to be right. I also wonder out loud if it isn't a little insecurity on somebody's part, to double down on this. All right, look, the story about everybody lawyering up, what else would they do? They're having a lawsuit. The lawyers would be involved. Trust me, Disney's lawyers are involved. And if accounting finds discrepancies in the Kenobi budget, and the Book of Boba Fett budget, and the Bad Batch budget, in which there could be, and the Skeleton Crew budget, maybe even Mandalorian budget, that Jon Favreau was not aware of. This is basically embezzlement, in my opinion. And I mean it. I mean, if they find out, this is criminal, okay? All because they wanted their High Republic lead-in TV show. And they wanted Dykes in space and put Star Wars on it. Look, everything I looked at this, looked like it was going to be a generic piece of shit TV show. Okay, just like Andor. It doesn't, and it's not fully funded. And as far as I can tell, it looks to me that part of the purge is going to be anybody who's involved in it. Okay, because I think they were stealing money. And I bet you I'm right. I bet you they were stealing money. It's the only explanation for this. All right. It's really sad to me that this is going on, but really there's really nothing you can do. You can really do about it. Just let Disney figure out what's going on. Look, there's been shady money business, funky money business going on with Disney since Captain Marvel came out. Okay, if you remember, it made $1 billion, and everyone's trying to figure out why. How? Because it didn't. No, I mean nobody went to go see it. I think I've been told by one person who was very upset with me. How dare I say Avatar sucked? I went to the Avatar. I went to see it multiple times. Good. You are the sole provider of the income for James Cameron, and you stroked his ego very well. Be happy that guy didn't do Star Wars because it would suck. Yeah. Well, here's the deal. Disney obviously gave The Mandalorian. Oh yeah, Peter. I think you're right. Disney gave Mandalorian the full budget. It's fully budgeted. And today's episode was too short. The action was great. And oh, that's interesting, Douglas. And at the end, I mean, Maze and I were having this debate. Did the armorer believe Bo-Katan about the mythosaur? I think because the armorer is a devout Mandalorian, that she does believe that Bo-Katan saw a mythosaur. Okay, I do believe that. It just, to me, look, if you told me that you saw an apparition of the Blessed Mother, and you went, before you saw it, you were like, whatever, and you come back and you're like, you're different. You're different. There's something about you, your face, the way you are, your character, your personality. If you were kind of frenetic, it's gone. Okay. You have been changed by an event in a good way. Okay. I would say, so what did she say? I'd be like, okay, because I'm a devout Catholic. Okay. And there you go. I mean, I look at the armorer and I see when she says this is the way, she talks about Mandalorian history. It's profound to her. Before Bo-Katan saw the mythosaur and realized that Mandalore wasn't poisoned, she was pretty much an agnostic. She was a Mandalorian in name only, a Mino, okay? When she's helping Din get up out of the water and her flashlight looked up and she saw that eye looking back at her and those teeth. Yeah, she did. That's exactly it. Just some other guy. She was profoundly changed. She was different because she suddenly realized that those childlike fairy tales were real. Okay, the mythosaur did exist. Okay. And, it was her Saul of Tarsus moment. She went from being agnostic, and he was a persecutor, to believing. All right, there you go. I think that being with them and how they live, she's actually getting an education about how Mandalorians are really, when, like, if you, like the scene in season 2 where Boba Fett and Din walk into that tavern and you've got Bo sitting there with the other female Mando. Their helmets are off, etc. They're not, in Din's opinion, real Mandalorians, but he had taken his mask off. Well, no, not really. He hadn't. You know, and to Din, they were apostate. Well, they're behaving like a covert. They're behaving like a military team, and they're behaving like a family. Okay. Yes, I know just some other guy. I know my church history very well. And St. Paul is one of my, I consider him a patron saint for myself. But, and that was really cool. Okay. You got Grogu throwing some Jedi shade at his opponent, doing little flips. Flips here, flips there, boom, 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 and gets the guy. Okay. That was cool. You see Grogu rescued by Ahmed Best. When that thing opened and I saw Ahmed Best, I was like, holy shit. That was a great cameo. All that great stuff. All of it. And I was hoping we'd see Anakin. Like you could see Skywalker in the distance, killing other Jedi. That would have been cool. Okay. While they're running. I think that would have been great, but there you go. So it still was great to see Ahmed. I loved that it gave him some, thumbs up there. Well, we might see more of him in flashbacks, but I do hope that we start getting into the meat of the story. We are at the midpoint for this season. Oh, yeah. I don't think he'll disappear. Let's see. My patron saints are St. Michael, St. Paul. Mary Magdalene was my confirmation saint. St. Teresa of Lisieux, Padre Pio. Pray and don't worry, God has it. John Paul II, Mother Teresa, Father Maximilian Kolbe, Father Capon, St. Thomas Aquinas, but I've got a whole army, okay, of, those are my people. So, but I say St. Michael's prayer every night at the end of my prayers at night. And right now, if you're Catholic, I really think you should. And the reason is this. There's a lot of really bad stuff going on and a lot of really bad stuff happening. It seems like there's a spiritual warfare going on it's like the demonic is like freaking out right now. But anyway, I don't want to talk about that. That is not my bailiwick. I don't know a lot about that stuff. So anyway, about going back to the Purge, look, I could look on my email right now and see deadline saying Carrie Beck leaves Lucasfilm, or Carrie Beck, Rain Roberts, Pablo Hidalgo, they could have all of them on there. But this is going to happen. If it happened at Marvel, it'll happen at Lucasfilm. Okay? And remember what Sparrow said to Kamran when Kennedy went and asked what this list was. She was told, it's not your concern. Okay, so they've already put her in a box. All right. All she's got is Indy 5. And there you go. Anyway, I do want you guys to start thinking about what we might see at Star Wars Celebration. Because after Celebration and after the investors meeting in April, early April, that's when the real purge. What I think they're doing is they're getting rid of some names we know, and then they'll go after the rest after. Okay, we're gonna see names all the way up to till April, and then the celebration, investors meeting, and then it's the avalanche. Again, they have to do this. And what participated, what was the genesis of this? Probably the SVB bank. All right, and the failures. It's not just FTX, and I do think that Bob Iger may have embezzled money from Lucas or from Disney itself to invest in FTX, which is why Chapek is gone. If Chapek would have found out, there'd be a lot of people going to jail. A lot. Okay. So just keep your eyes open, okay, for this. But get ready for Star Wars Celebration, and remember, you're not going to be able to go into chat because for some reason they're not streaming. They're going to have the interviews. I don't think they're going to have a live chat. Why? They don't want fans going in there trolling. No Celebration next year, and no Kyle Ron mask on The Mandalorian. Okay. And yet, Disney, accounting, auditing, Lucasfilm, but the Acolyte, over the Acolyte, but it's real. May the bloody purge open up people's eyes. Steph, signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.